XRP holders, it is finally here. As we have been talking about on the channel for a while now, we are starting to see real world assets being onboarded and projects facilitating the onboarding of real world assets onto the XRP ledger. As we had in a video a couple days back, we were talking about Dubai going all in on real estate. Well, today we actually also have a video here talking about Volt. Volt is a real world assets token that is essentially working with both Solana as well as XRP, building on the XRP ledger to help onboard real world assets into the XRP ledger ecosystem. I think this is an absolutely huge deal because, again, we have talked about all of the different payment systems with the Ripple Pay or the Ripple payments, all this type of stuff, onboarding into crypto, offboarding into fiat, cross-border transactions, all of this type of stuff is going to be running through the XRP ledger. And so because of that, if we already have people running payments through there, having real world assets also on the XRP ledger, I think does make a lot of sense. And so that's why I want to jump into today's video where we do talk about Volt and their XVM token, because this I think could be a massive opportunity as we start to shift into this real world assets narrative that is going to be built on the XRP ledger. So I did also want to mention today that this is a sponsored video. So huge thank you to the XVM team. I'm very interested in basically all things real world assets, and seeing how they're going to build on the XRP ledger I think is super important. Plus they have a token that I think actually has a huge amount of upsides. We're going to be talking about that as well. Of course, none of this is financial advice. You do need to make your own decisions, but I personally found this project quite interesting, as well as them being willing to support the channel. It does actually mean a lot. And so I did just want to go over and talk about the Volt token today. So without further ado, let's go jump on in, and we'll look at the website here first. Just so you are aware, if you are interested in checking anything out about Volt and the XVM token, I do have all of the links. Should be the first thing in the description below. So go ahead, feel free to check that out if you are interested. Now, moving along, if we go back to the top of the page, you can see they stated very clearly here, they are supercharging the next generation of RWA on XRP, built on the XRP ledger. So of course, if you are an XRP fan, you know this is huge news. And this is something that is kind of fully supporting our vision through and through. And so I do think it is quite cool. Here you can see it actually is launched on Solana, at least for right now, but they do have this like XRP ending to their contract address, which I do think is pretty cool. So again, if you are looking, they have it here linked to Phantom, Dex Screener, and Jupiter. We'll check it out on Dex Screener here in a second. But if you look here for the vision, we can see they're essentially looking to capture the value of real world and tokenize it for greater accessibility. We talked about this, and we have been talking about this forever on the channel. I think real world assets on chain are all but an inevitability. I think it's certain to happen. It's more a matter of when and who the particular winners are. And so that is essentially what I'm looking into. I spend a lot of time researching, and I'm very interested to kind of see and to follow when we start to see kind of high profile projects like this launching, particularly directly onto the XRP ledger. So you can see here, advancing RWA for the XRP ecosystem. They're pioneering tokenization and real world assets on both Ripple and the Solana networks, creating unprecedented opportunities for value creation and transfer with real world asset tokenization built for everyday accessibility and a community focused approach. You can see here kind of some of the things that they're looking. They are working essentially, or they're available through the leading markets on Jupiter, Phantom, and Dex Screener. Again, this is launched on Solana, so I believe they will be doing a migration onto the XRP ledger at some point, or they may just have their token on Solana while they're actually running their RWA platform and tokenization efforts, all that type of thing on the XRP ledger. Though I would imagine at some point it does migrate over to the XRP ledger. So again, no confirmation there one way or the other. Just stay tuned. Also, if you are looking to stay up to date with all the things that are going on via their socials, they have their links to their X, their Telegram, and their GitHub all going on here if you are interested. So, and again, as we've talked about several times, if you've been watching the channel, this will not be any sort of surprise to you. But the market for real world assets is absolutely ginormous. You can see gold's market cap is 22.8 trillion. The luxury watch market is 75 billion. And the RWA potential is $23+ trillion. And again, this is only going to continue to grow with time. So I think that this is going to expand more and more. And depending on what you consider real world assets, this could basically be anything, right? So, I mean, this could stretch up into the hundreds of trillions of dollars. Even the global real estate market, I think, is priced in somewhere around $400 to $450 trillion right now. So a lot of interesting things here in a massive market. You don't really need to take much of this market to be an absolutely massive player in the game. So like I said, if you are interested in checking out the community, anything like that, everything, if you want to check out the website, like I said, the links are in the description below. Here we'll go check out the deck screen really quick. You can see the chart doing quite well so far. We've had a really strong run up. Let's actually move this to like an hour-long chart. You can see an absolutely parabolic run, seeing a little bit of a pullback. Now, again, if you are looking to get into the XVM or the Volt token, this could potentially be a decent time getting in. We've seen about a 30-ish% kind of retrace here, maybe closer to 50%, kind of like top to bottom here. We have already started to see that recovery though. So if you are looking to get in, now could potentially be a really good time before we continue that next leg up. Again, nothing here is financial advice. You do and you really have to be making your own decisions with your own money, because it's exactly that, it's your own money. But I usually am looking for these types of pullbacks to enter into a project, not buying up at this point, or even really at this point where we've only seen up at this point. This has shown a very healthy pullback, and now we are still seeing some very strong support from the community and from the project. So this is something that in my mind does seem to have legs and could continue along. Only a $41 million market cap here on this project. Now keep in mind, they're building on the XRP Ledger. XRP itself is approaching $200 billion in market cap. And so that does give a fairly wide room to run in terms of what this could make or what this could run to, right? I mean, we could see it hit maybe several hundred million, maybe even $1 billion if things go really well and we see the progress of the project really kind of continue and make great strides. We could see this do some absolutely wild numbers. So coming in at only a $41 million market cap is definitely very early. So again, this is not a recommendation to buy. This is not investment advice of any kind. This is just me talking to you about what I think could be a pretty interesting project, and quite obviously does seem to have a decent bit of momentum behind it. So that's just something that you of course can consider and kind of make your own decision here. But at least for me, I do think this is a pretty exciting and pretty interesting project, as well as a fairly strong looking chart. So again, only time will tell, but we will have to see and kind of follow how that goes. I did also want to show the Volt Twitter account here. I'll actually give that a follow. You can see here 4,400 followers. Again, very new project. So, they've already started to adopt some really strong, kind of social following. And they have, you can see here, a decent bit of impressions, interactions, all of this type of stuff. So this does seem to be like it's a real community with people who are quite interested in what Volt is doing here. So I'm overall very interested to see kind of how this project matures. But again, this is something to me that actually looks like it's got some legs, and it could potentially be a very interesting project. So overall, that's kind of what I want to talk to you about. Again, as we've talked about on the channel, this to me seems kind of like a no-brainer. RWA, we've talked about all the time. XRP, we talk about how it has that potential to really capture, and we're already seeing momentum on some of this stuff to really capture a lot of these gains in the strides kind of coming into the RWA market. So I think to me this is a very interesting project with the potential for some massive upside going on here. So again, overall, make your own decisions, all that type of stuff. But I did also just want to thank Volt again for sponsoring this video, because I do always appreciate making content about things that I find quite interesting, and having them support the channel, of course, does help me out quite a bit. So again, also, if you found the information in this video useful, a like and a subscribe does help. I also would love to know what your thoughts are about this, this type of content. What do you think about RWA? Do you think RWA is a thing that will continue to kind of thrive on into the future? Do you think it will be built on XRP Ledger? Do you think it'll be built somewhere else? What are your thoughts? I would love to hear. So just drop those in the comment section below and I will respond to those. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.